Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. So I've done a lot of episodes about Trump, and 2 weeks ago I did one on Trump's record on Israel. I'll link that in the description below. But I want to give a fair alternative view to his pro-Israel rhetoric, we'll say, and positions. So there's three main arguments against Trump. One is his position on the vaccines, and he's kind of gone silent on that, which is a smart move because even if he recognizes his error and tries to come back on that, it'll probably push moderates away. Now, the second one is his pro-Israel position, especially in light of what's going on in Gaza and all that, and generally people being anti-genocide and stuff. So John Doyle made this argument. So that'll be the first reference below. It's a YouTube video. He starts the exact argument that I'm talking about at about 18 minutes. He starts the thought for it, but at 21 minutes, right before 21 minutes is where he starts this specific part of that idea that he's presenting. And basically he looks at Trump's political position and he breaks it down into two different categories. There's number one, it's Jewish donors. And so we know that Mr. Adelson, I forget his first name, he gave $20 million to Trump in a previous election, and now Miriam Adelson, the wife, is now giving $100 million to him in this campaign. Now, this is not an important part of the argument. It's not very compelling because he could win without Jewish donors or he could win with Jewish donors. He's more likely to win with them, but that's neither here nor there. The important part of this argument that he makes is, what if he took a America First position on Israel? How many evangelical voters would he lose? Even if it's just an apathy, like they don't vote for the opponent. And this is a really good point, honestly. So when I'm talking about Trump being America first or Israel first, I'm talking from an idealistic perspective, not from a political perspective. Like, if I was running against him and I was running on an America first, I would lose all the evangelical voters and he would easily beat me. So this is the political perspective, and it's a very good point. It doesn't excuse what Trump is doing or his positions, but if you look at, so basically, I tried to look up and I couldn't get the exact number, honestly, of people. I tried every avenue, but the second reference below is from Pew Research, and in it says, among all white adults who participated in both the 2016 and 2020 surveys, 25% described themselves as born again or evangelical Protestants in 2016. 29% described themselves this way in 2020. So again, this is not the idealistic argument. This is just the political reality. So if you look at it, in 2016, 25% of white adult voters, and in 2020, 29% of white adult voters. Now, the same reference from Pew Research says that white evangelicals vote overwhelmingly for Republicans, where minority evangelicals vote overwhelmingly for Democrats. So I couldn't get the exact number on how many human beings this is, but you figure 25 and 29%, if a small percentage of those just didn't come to the polls, you're talking about millions of people, and it could change an election. So I'm not defending Trump here, but I want to show you the other side of my arguments. This is the other side. This is the argument against my arguments. My arguments are based in idealism. This is an argument based in political reality. So basically the problem, if you look at it, is literally it's evangelicals. It's well-meaning people who, my next door neighbors, they're great. Go to the same church. They're terrific people. Go on their Facebook and it's all just Zionism. It's all pro-Israel stuff. And so the problem is in the mindset of evangelicals. Given that political reality, a candidate who puts America first, even if it's Trump or not Trump, is going to lose in the evangelical vote, which is just amazing. So the problem is, it's a problem of Americans who are evangelicals being propagandized to be pro-Israel, to be Israel first and America second. So I think that this is important to point out. I hadn't thought of this myself until I watched that video, the first reference below. And it's an important thing to understand. It's the other side of the coin on my argument. Now, there's the vaccine, there's Zionism, there's still the third argument, which I've made previously. I have a video on it, but I literally couldn't find out which video it was. So I was going to link it in the description, but basically in the argument, in the video, I make the argument that at the end of 2020, there were two possible things. Either there was widespread election fraud and the election was stolen, or there wasn't. Okay? Trump claimed that there was. Either he was lying or telling the truth. If he was lying and there wasn't widespread election fraud, then he's a terrible president, terrible human being for lying, trying to break up the democracy like, Matt Al would say or something. If he's telling the truth and there was widespread election fraud and half of the country is going to be disenfranchised, whose job is it to make that right? The chief executive. So then therefore he completely failed his duty. So either he's lying or he completely failed the American people and disenfranchised over half of the nation, right? Well, over half the electoral votes. So that argument's still valid, regardless of whether him being pro-Israel argument isn't as valid in the actual political context, but it is valid idealistically. And so, anyways, that's just what I got for you. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say, because this is totally different than what I've done previously on Trump. And I'm interested in hearing, like, what do you think about this? Do you get where I'm coming from? The video I referenced below by John Doyle, it's really hard to handle because his style is wishing his viewers were more illiterate so he could tell them, because he knows everything. It's hard to handle. But if you want to check it out, 18 minutes, 21 minutes per argument. On Wednesday, there'll be the 10th part in the Holocaust series, where I'm going to cover the where the 6 million came from and how many times it popped up before the actual World War II. And it's very interesting. And then get into where that actually fits into the Jewish faith, and like where that actually comes from. It's going to be very interesting. And then on Thursday, I'm going to talk about Operation Wetback, because last Thursday I talked about extreme immigration policies. I mentioned Operation Wetback, but I hadn't fully done the research on it. So I'm going to show you the pros and the cons, and it's going to be very interesting. So hope to see you there.